Hey guys, what's going on? Tyrauku here, and I hope everyone's doing great. So today I want to make a follow-up video, basically to yesterday's video. Before we get into that though, look at this silver. A few weeks ago, this silver was 1 million, and now it's 101 million. Been doing a lot of grinding in this dragon tournament. If you guys want to see the gear I got, let me know. Maybe I can do a video on that, or I can show it on tomorrow's stream, which I will be doing shard openings on stream, twitch.tv/Tyrauku at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to come over there and watch that, join in, definitely feel free to. But today's video is going to be basically, like I said, a follow-up to yesterday's video. So yesterday's video, for anybody who didn't see it, was 6-star epic regrets. Now, in the video, I prefaced it at the very, very beginning, which I think a lot of people missed that possibly, by saying that the champions I'm talking about are not bad champions, most of them. There was a few champions in there that I do think were not very good, but I didn't want to go in there and just say, okay, the champions I regret taking a 6-star are champions like Lordly Legionnaire, champions like people that you already know these champions aren't great. Like if I took a Excruciator, now, maybe she has a use, okay? Maybe she has a use somewhere. But if I took her to 6-star, yeah, it's going to be a pretty obvious example. My goal with yesterday's video was to go over some champions who are possibly hyped up quite a bit, and they're very, very good for so long in the game, and then all of a sudden they just drop off and they lose a lot of value, basically. And champions like Occult Brawler, an amazing champion, great clan boss poisoner, but as you get later on in the game, at least for me, he fell off. And it's not even because I've wailed out or anything like that. Not even because I have a ton of legendaries or anything along those lines. It's just because once you start building other clan boss teams, there's a lot of other champions that can fill in those roles. But I'm not doing a recap of yesterday's video. If you guys want to go check that out, feel free. Click the link up here somewhere in the video and you can check it out. But today I want to talk about champions who I strongly believe have a very good impact early game, mid game, and late game. Okay, I think these champions are incredible. I actually use every one of these champions almost every day. I use them very, very consistently. Some of the ones I mentioned are going to be a little bit less than others, obviously, but I have a list of 10 that I want to go over. And my first one I want to start off with is, well, after you guys like, comment, well, wait to comment, but like and subscribe helps the channel grow. Very, very much appreciated. So thank you for that ahead of time. But the first champion I want to talk about is going to be Seeker. So actually I have two different Seeker builds, and one of them has no necklace because, I don't know why, but two Seekers, okay? Seeker's an amazing champion for arena defense, arena offense, for a go second team. Very, very solid champion. Very good in the clan boss with the Bat Eater teams. A very solid champion, good for faction wars. These are the kind of the champions I like. Even though I spend money in the game, I'm pretty far progressed, I still enjoy champions that I can invest my resources into and use them in several different areas of the game. It feels weird. Now, granted, I'm saying this and I use Fellhound as a farmer, but it feels weird having a champion who you take to 6-star only to use them in one area of the game, right? So, especially if you're being more conservative with your resources, you want to get the most out of your champions, right? I think we all do. So Seeker is a champion who I think is so good with so many different areas of the game. Go second team with this increased defense, or you can have him in a fast team with the increased attack, turn meter boost as well. So overall, I think Seeker's a very versatile champion and a very solid champion to go along with that. Very, very good champion. The second champion I want to mention is Skytouch Shaman. So I went over Skytouch Shaman before. I got a few different videos on the channel talking about her. I think she's one of the best healers in the game. She has an incredible heal. Well, basically, she heals for 50% of her missing HP. So if she has 60,000 HP, she gets damage down to, say, 30,000 HP. She's missing a total of 30,000 HP because the difference between, well, we don't even need to do that math, okay? Just the half of 30,000 that's missing, basically, she's healing for about 15,000. That's not including the masteries on her or any of the ally champions, but a 15,000 HP heal is pretty massive. That's just an example. My Skytouch has 66,000 health. If she was brought down to 1 HP, she would heal for half the remaining HP there. But besides the heal that happens every turn, whether she's stunned, slept, feared, true fear, doesn't matter. It always happens. Besides that, she has an incredible ability right here, which is block debuffs and revival and death. This makes her an incredible go second arena champion. Very good for a lot of different areas of the game. If you need a champion to put block debuffs up and a champion to just help your team survive in general. Now, her ability 1 is good. The thing is that she would be very good on Nether Spider if she didn't have this as an AoE. Granted, the AoE is good. Boost this champion's turn meter by 20% instead if the champion has 50% HP or higher. If it's 50% HP or lower, then heals this champion by 15% of the damage inflicted. So, interesting A1 ability, but the main shining point of her kit, A2, and her passive ability. This is why I put her in immunity gear though, because she does have a chance of placing fear and decreased speed on herself, but if she's in immunity gear, she won't place that on herself. Now, you can't run so high of resistance that she'll never place it on herself, so keep that in mind. If you want her to not do that for the first 2 turns that she takes, then go ahead and put her in immunity gear. It should be good to go. So the next champion I want to talk about is Seer. Now, I really don't need to go that in depth in Seer. I was trying to leave as many, top tier, meta, everybody knows about them, champions off this list as possible, but I had to include Seer, because if I didn't include Seer, people would say, oh, Ty, you missed Seer. She's an epic. You use her all the time. So let's go ahead and throw Seer in here. Amazing champion. Basically, stack her up with debuffs, or no, don't do that. Stack her with buffs. Stack the enemy with debuffs. If the enemies have buffs, perfect. Stack her with a ton of crit damage. You're good to go. Nuke the waves. Easy clap. Throw in a Renegade. Throw in a Kymar. You're good to go. Seer, amazing champion. We're not going to spend too much time on her. The next champion I want to talk about, another champion we're not going to spend much time on. I actually have 3 of them, 2 at 6-star level 60 and 1 at 6-star level 1 that I'm currently working on. Well, not really. I need to get her masteries done, everything like that. I have several champions you can see down here. I got 3, 6, 9, 10, basically. 10 champions who are 6-star, but low level, no masteries yet. So I got a lot in the backlogs. If you guys want to see any of them specifically, taken to 60, fully mastered, everything, let me know. I can test them out. Now, Madam, obviously an amazing champion. Once again, I'm not going to spend too much time on her. A3 ability, she strips the enemy, decreased defense, decreased attack, arena, nukes everybody. Well, your nuke champion nukes everybody. Madam Serris doesn't do damage. Don't build your Madam Serris for damage. Bad idea. All right. Well, actually, I wonder how Madam in Savage gear would do. Maybe we test that out in a future video. But either way, Madam, an amazing champion. You're going to use her early game, mid game, late game. Obviously, way throughout the arena, early game, an amazing champion for wave clears, decreased defense, and decreased attack on the waves, stripping them from their buffs. Very, very good champion. Obviously, if you get her, level her up. The next champion I want to talk about is Maneater. Now, Maneater, before you say, oh, well, of course, clan boss, right? Unkillable. Yeah, easy, okay? We know where Maneater is going to be used. That is correct. But let me go ahead and not have to pull him out of my vault. Maneater is a champion I use every day in the clan boss, but he's also a champion that is incredible in so many different other areas of the game, specifically because of the new AI patch. So the new AI patch basically allows you to take Maneater and allow him to be like an amazing champion, even better than he was before, because now you can make sure that he uses his A2 ability, which not only fully depletes the turn meter, which means that the spider, you guys may have noticed before, the spider actually has overfill on her turn meter. So she'll look like she has 100%. You'll keep taking turns and she'll never go. Well, she's actually climbing above 100%. She may be at 120%, for example. Well, fully depletes the turn meter means Maneater is going to use his A2 ability, fully deplete the turn meter, as in take the 120%, take it down to 0%, and then he's going to take that as in fills this champion's turn meter equal to the amount the target loses, which is absolutely incredible. Basically, he's going to do a turn. I'm giving the reference on Spider because I think that's where he's amazing at. And every time I jump into somebody's account who's not doing Unkillable Clan Boss yet, but they have a Maneater, but they haven't necessarily built him because they thought, oh, well, he's for Unkillable Clan Boss. I don't have that yet, so I might as well just wait before I build him. Until then, I throw Maneater into the Spider team and he makes it so much easier. With the AI changes now, you can make sure that he does this at the correct time, whether you want him to do it on the first turn, second turn, or third turn. Obviously, if you want to do it on the first turn, then you use this as priority 1, turn 1. If you want to do it on the third turn, you set this as A1 to the opener, this to the second ability, and then, or this to the first ability, and this to the second ability. I believe that's how it would do, and you could get it to use on the third turn, if that's what you guys want to do. Also, he brings block, debuffs, and unkillable. This is what he's known for, but there's one more thing he brings. Decrease attack, AoE, if this attack is critical. That's huge. So if you use him in dungeon content, he's going to be built a little bit differently than if you use him in clan boss. You're going to want accuracy, you're going to want crit rate, which you're going to want crit rate on clan boss too, but you're going to want accuracy for sure. Overall, an amazing champion outside of the common clan boss uses, and a champion who I see oftentimes used in people's accounts, but they don't realize, hey, he's good in all these other areas. They're just so tunnel visioned on the clan boss, which is, I mean, that's really where he shines, right? Everybody knows, unkillable, Maneaters, perfect, and such a very good team. Now, the next champion I want to talk about is a champion who I mentioned in my previous video a few days ago, talking about my old account, a champion who I actually didn't really care for. I was like, this champion's okay at best, but I'm not going to level him. And I was definitely wrong. So if you're looking for a champion, an amazing support champion, Stag Knight is the way to go. 3-turn cooldown when it's fully booked. He only has 2 abilities, and both of them are perfect. And his passive is nice too. Brings a little bit of extra, 50% increased accuracy whenever an ally misses a debuff. So this is perfect. So his A2 ability, decrease attack, decrease defense, AoE, spirit affinity. So obviously if you go against magic affinity, he can do weak hits. But this is so good. This is another champion who I don't really need to spend a lot of time on, but his A1 is very, very good as well. The decreased speed. In my opinion, he's a little bit better than Duke, just specifically because of this A1. I don't have Duke on this list. Duke is down here somewhere. Duke, I don't know. The orc dude who's basically Stag Knight reskinned, but his kit, in my opinion, is a little bit lower tier. I think Stag Knight fits in a lot more areas. Granted, he is the opposite affinity, so he's good against spirit, and where Stag Knight, and he can go against magic, Duke can, where Stag Knight gets weak hits. So both of these champions, very, very similar, very comparable. Both have their niches, both have their uses, their specific case uses, and both amazing for their specific factions, right? Stag Knight, like I said, I prefer him though. He's better in, say, Spider. Anybody who can be decreased speed, Stag Knight wins a little bit. If they can't be decreased speed, they're going to be pretty comparable. Both these champions, very solid, definitely worth investing in. I think you're going to use them basically forever. Only until recently, I was using Stag Knight quite a bit. Recently, I've kind of cut back on using Stag Knight since I pulled Kymar. I don't need him as much, but still, 2 amazing champions. The next one I want to talk about is Skullcrown. So Skullcrown is a champion who I absolutely love. Before I started getting better DPS options, and Skullcrown for a little while there, she wasn't doing as good for me, right? Like in the arena where I was, she wasn't doing quite enough damage to one-shot people. She was doing decent, nothing crazy, and I kind of just had to replace her. But Skullcrown's one of those champions who you can do so many different builds with her. You can put her in a stun set. You can put her in a Avenging set. You can put her in a Retaliation set, though I think Avenging is a little bit better for the arena. You can put her in so many different builds. You can make her slow for Blender. You can make her fast for just a regular speed tuned arena team. You can put her in a go second team, a defense team, because she has unkillable on her passive ability right here. So she's an amazing champion. If you have her, I don't think you're going to regret building her whatsoever. She's a very fast campaign farmer and one of my favorite champions in the game, to be honest. If she hit harder, I would definitely use her. If there's a legendary who hit harder and was basically her kit, I would definitely use them. Now, don't get me wrong. Skullcrown can absolutely nuke, and she was my top tier nuker for a while until I started using Solus with Siphi, and he kind of beat her out. But Skullcrown, definitely a champion who I don't mind to have 2 of. I don't mind to have 3 of. A champion who's definitely worth building dupes of if you're to the point of the game where, especially if you're going through Faction Wars. She's an amazing champion for Faction Wars. Throw 2 of them in a stun set, you're good to go. You'll control the waves majority of the time. Next champion I want to talk about is, first off, a drink of water. We're 13 minutes in, and I've hopefully not just overloaded you guys with information. I know I'm probably talking a little bit fast. Let's go ahead and slow this down, Ty. People watching this in 2x, if you can understand what I'm saying, honestly, I'm impressed. Let me know. Actually, I'm curious. Do you guys watch my videos in 2x speed, or do you watch them in normal speed? I know sometimes I do get the tendency to talk a little bit quick, but let's go ahead and jump into the next champion, Archmage. Archmage right here. Archmage Helmut is a champion who, for a little while, he's missing pieces of gear on purpose because I have him in my Ice Golem 25 team, and he needs to be missing these pieces. If not, he survives too long. Bad L doesn't solo. So he's missing those pieces on purpose. Now, very good champion because he's one of the few champions who brings 3 buffs to the team, right? 3 buffs on a 3-turn cooldown, each one of these last 2 turns, so he keeps them up majority of the time. This works very, very well with our good friend Seer that I mentioned earlier. Now, he also has an amazing A2 ability. Basically, attacks one enemy, then attacks all other enemies if the first attack is critical, which you want to build in with crit rate. The second attack has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. After attacking, decreases the turn meters of enemies without a stun debuff by 20%. So this goes 50, 60, 75% chance of placing a stun. That's a very, very solid chance of placing a stun, right? An amazing champion. Very, very good control. He's immune to turn meter decreasing effects. His A1 attacks one enemy, fills his champion's turn meter by 10%, fills the turn meter by 20% if this attack is critical. Put him in Relentless. This dude looks like the Energizer Bunny going turn after turn after turn. It is absolutely crazy. Actually, I think he is the Energizer Bunny, just in human form. I mean, look at it. Looks like it to me. So this dude, definitely, when you get him from the Doom Tower, such a good champion. Good buffs, great buffs. pairs well with Seer, good aura, good passive, good A1 and A2 ability, very, very fast, moves through his turns like crazy. I think he can farm campaign pretty quickly as well, but definitely one champion you should invest in if you get him, and you definitely won't regret him. Now, granted, you're not going to get him early game or mid game because he's what? In the Doom Tower, you have to finish the normal, I believe, to get his fragments, I think it is. So definitely a very, very, very good champion. Now, the next one, we have two more to go through. The next one is Shatterbones. Shatterbones is a champion who kind of can fit two different roles, two different big roles, either turn meter manipulation, kind of crowd control, or damage, or a little bit of both. But I mainly use him for crowd control. I mean, you can see here, he's built with speed and accuracy, and it works very well. Mostly for faction wars, but I've definitely used him in the Doom Tower. I've used him in some dungeons before, and I think he's a champion who you won't really regret. And there's always cases where you need a big turn meter reduction AoE from his A2 ability, which attacks 3 times, has a 50% chance to decrease the turn meter by 30%. Now, this is a little bit misleading because it's not 30% total, it's 30% each hit. So basically, he has an AoE ability that attacks 3 times, and it hits pretty hard, and it can decrease the turn meter basically a total of 90%, which is huge. I mean, if you went to math and you finished maths class, right, you know 90% is almost 100%. That's almost fully reducing your turn meter. That's actually a really, really good ability. He has A3 ability with a decreased speed and fills the turn meter of all allies by 25%. He has so many different uses. You can use him in the arena as a champion to either help your team get caught up with the enemies or keep your team going first, decrease their speed, fill your turn meter, decrease their turn meter, a lot of different options. And his A1 places a 25% increased attack buff on all allies for 1 turn if this attack is critical. This is the weak version of increased attack, but not a big deal. I mean, it is an increased attack. Bring with Ogre and Tribe Faction Wars, very, very, very solid champion for you to use there. Now, the last but not least champion that I want to talk about, and hopefully I'm not taking too long for you guys. We're at about 17 minutes. I was hoping for this to be pretty quick. We got over 10 champions we went through, so hopefully you guys are finding some value out of this. Maybe we're talking about a champion you overlooked. The last champion I want to talk about is Basher. Now, Basher is a unique case. I think a lot of people know the value of Basher, and I hope you do. But if you don't, the unique thing about Basher is he's basically like a baby warlord, okay? The benefit of this ability, though, attacks all enemies, increases the cooldown of all target skills by 2 turns. This is so good because the only way you can stop this is with a lot of resistance. But if your Basher has a lot of accuracy, you ain't got to worry about it because the enemy's probably not going to be running that much resistance, especially in PvE type content. So this ability, you can't stop it by block buffs, or block debuffs, better yet. Very, very good ability. It ignores all that kind of stuff, just goes straight to the target, increases their cooldowns by 2, increases the cooldown of all targets by 2, basically, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown. So if he's fast enough, he's just keeping them on cooldown, very, very similar to Warlord, other than the fact that he's squishy. He is very squishy. I tried using him in Arena. That was the issue, is that he was so squishy that it was hard to keep him alive. But if you could keep him alive, he would basically be a epic version of Warlord. His A3 ability is also very nice. It attacks 4 times at random, places block buffs. Very solid ability, especially good in Faction Wars, but it has benefits other places. I've used Basher a decent amount in the Doom Tower, actually, to get some of the champions locked out that I didn't want using their strong, hard-hitting abilities. So he has a ton of benefit there, and his A1 has a chance of placing Weaken. Nobody can complain about that. His aura, I think, is in all battles. Yeah, 25%. Definitely a champion who I think if you invested in him early on, you're going to enjoy him throughout the game. The Arena, 3v3, some dungeons, Doom Tower, Faction Wars, definitely Faction Wars. A huge, huge help in the Skinwalker's faction crypt, which is a faction that is kind of lacking. They're doing better now, slowly getting more champions, but Basher is definitely a very good champion for there. Now, that is the about 10 champions that I think are very, very worth it, and you will have no regrets taking to 6-star. Let me know some champions you think are the best champions, best epic champions to take to 6-star, preferably ones that are not as known, some of the less common ones. I mean, I could have went through here and said, well, I guess I did say most of the overpowered ones, but I tried to keep some of the crazy ones off the list. Did I even do that? I mean, I could have thrown Gala, Umbral, Faceless, but I tried to keep some of the ones that were maybe a little less known, but champions who I think that I use very, very consistently and very, very frequently. So guys, thank you all very much for watching this video. Thank you for staying till the end. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.